Hey friends, Fui here once again. We'll get into things in just a second, but I'm going to let the introduction play because I think it's a wonderful one. It will be about a minute and a quarter, so if you want to skip ahead, you're welcome to. But otherwise, we're just going to let this play because the music is beautiful and well, it's kind of fun. And don't worry, this game will be in English despite what the cutscenes seem to imply. Alright, let's pop on the settings while I talk here for a second, so that way I don't have it reset. So, once again, hey friends, my name is Fuya, and welcome to our Let's Play of Touhou Puppet Dance Performance, Shard of Dreams. This is one of my favorite games of all time, and in my humble opinion, probably the best Pokemon-style game I've ever played, and I've played quite a lot. Now, bold claim to make? Absolutely, but I'm hoping by the end of it you see the fusion of the story, because this game has a pretty cool story. All the different characters in it, memorable locations. Just it's really well crafted, and I'm hoping that you'll fall in love with it just like I have. So obviously this is not my first rodeo. I played this game a number of times, but I'm going to be doing a more or less fresh playthrough of the New Game Plus. Not going to be carrying over any puppets, not going to be doing any sort of, in this case that's what Pokemon are considered to be puppets. We'll go into that a little more as the game goes on, you'll see. But, oop, and sure enough I yapped y'all enough and went to the entrance anyway. So let's just kind of get the ball rolling here, shall we? And we're doing a second playthrough because it unlocks a whole different storyline as well with the expansion Shard of Dreams, hence Touhou Puppet Dance Performance. Shard of Dreams. So I'm not going to be using any of my other puppets. You can carry puppets over; they become level 1, but you can really buff them up too. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do it from fresh. So I think it's like the most enjoyable way you can see how catching puppets or Pokemon, as you might say, works in the game, etc., etc. So in the second playthrough, all the non-inherited puppets you had, except Fatefully Reunited puppets, will be reincarnated and placed into the first page of the puppet box. Also, they can be used after inheritance, etc., etc. We're starting right off. What better way for a New Game Plus to start off with Doremi from Touhou 15. Oh, it's you. You're confused, aren't you? Seems like you can't tell if it's a dream or a reality. I see. You want to see what awaits ahead. Let me keep your dream for a while. It's too heavy to bring ahead. Left the puppet box with Doremi. So this is their way of saying, okay, obviously you can't bring any of your items from your previous playthrough, but you can even bring your actual puppets through. So, and this game has a wonderful New Game Plus mode. We'll get into that later on. Well, don't worry, I'll return it to you later. And she does. See you then. May good luck be with you. And so, we begin. Hey, it's time to get up. Let's start with hello, shall we? Finally, you are here. How do you feel? Me? My name is Yukari Yakumo. This is the first time we've met, yes? Sure, we'll go with that. This might be a weird question for you, but have you ever heard of Gensokyo? Not at all, eh? Gensokyo, a place that belongs to all that has been forgotten. A world where the abandoned gather, including those who are only known through folklore. Looks like you are hooked already. What an interesting being you are. Since we're so interested in each other, mind if I learn more about you? First of all, are you a boy or a girl? Girl character, of course, as is tradition, and it's a very great design in this game. So, you're a girl? Yes. What's your name? Well, this is one point where I'm going to have to use the keyboard. Apologies, friends. I'm using a gamepad for the rest. That way you don't hear all the clicking. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, hold on. Maybe I should actually hit enter. Alright. Yeah, that's the last time I hear the keyboard. Ooh, yeah, right? Absolutely. Ooh, yeah, such a pretty name. Why, thank you, Kari. I think so, too. Why would I ask these basic things, you ask? Well, it doesn't hurt to ask, does it? Your name is what defines you. Keep it safe, alright? There's a way to put it. The next station is Hakure Shrine. Well, it's almost time. Time always goes by so fast, doesn't it? Maybe we will meet again sometime. Let's leave the fun for later. And so we have arrived. One note, this is an English fan translation patch put forth by the wonderful folks over at the Touhou Puppet Dance Performance wiki. They put an absolute ton of work into this patch. I highly suggest that y'all check it out. Obviously, slight differences between the Japanese patch and the English patch, but obviously things don't always translate one-to-one, and they did a wonderful job with it. So, big shout-outs to them before we go any further. Front of the Hakure Shrine. The goal is here. Okay. And there goes the bus. Next bus is 3 hours later. Well, I guess we're stuck here for a while. This path is dangerous. Go figure. Let's go explore. We got some business finished in the Hakure Shrine today. What business could that be? So, one thing to note. Press and hold the B button, or if you're on a keyboard, the X button, and you'll run. Can't really do too much at this point. You do have a handheld console, game device that folds closed. Actually has no real benefit in the game except for the fact that you can sell it later. Hakure Shrine. Right now we're in, the real world, so to speak. Gensokyo is a fantastical realm. I'm sure we'll never visit it or anything. Let's just start talking to people. Although it looks just like another abandoned shrine, the myth of being spirited away started here. The well is dried out. Water's calm. The myth says that there is a path connected to Gensokyo from this shrine. What's Gensokyo again? It's a different world, or universe. Listen to that music, it's fantastic. Nothing inside. Well, at least one thing stays the same. It's getting hot here. Do you know if there are any vending machines around? Probably not. Who is this? Well, fans of this series already know, but I'm not going to spoil that right now. The door is locked tight. So not so much to do in the real world. You actually do have to talk to everybody though before you go on, otherwise it will not let you. One of the few times where you have to do that. So, you said Gengetsu was your favorite, right? No, actually. So, this is one difference, New Game Plus right here. In the first game, he's like, hey, what's your favorite character? And he's like, well, you get to choose. Previous playthrough I completed, I said Gengetsu, because I kind of do themed playthroughs once in a while. No? Who's your favorite then? For this playthrough, which direction is it? This is the point where you get to choose what effectively is your starting puppet. You can choose any character whatsoever. So if you want to do something from the original Touhou games, like something different, Ellis or Serio, Mima, always fan favorite Mima. You could do Reimu. You could even go and start off with a really rare puppet from like Touhou 15 or Touhou 14, whatever you want. You can do Chudano, which I debated on doing, but today I'm going to be starting with somewhere over here. Good old Aya. So Aya is going to be a puppet. Aya? That's unexpected. Talk to you again. So you said Aya was your favorite, right? That's unexpected. And he's like confused because for some reason he's like, well, I talked to you before in a previous playthrough and you said this was your favorite, right? That's interesting. And if you go over here now, Akure Mountain. Why'd you go to the mountain? Who knows? Yeah, that looks a little familiar. But note that that isn't actually a person. That would be a puppet. Now, game. Ah! Oh, someone clicked off. Oh, I see what happened. Ah! Good old scene controller. The mouse thing actually, I keep forgetting you can move the mouse if you can see that with my thumb here. I'm gonna have to be a little careful not to click that in by accident. I'll do better with that next time. Wouldn't be a playthrough if you didn't have some sort of technical difficulty. We're getting it out of the way early. The Steam controller is pretty good overall. I kind of prefer like a PlayStation controller or an Xbox one, but it's a very good controller. Since I had it handy, I figured I'd give that a shot. So no violent encounters, obviously. You know, what would you do here? We're chasing this odd Yukari puppet thing through really beautiful scenery. I mean, look at the reflections of the clouds. Clouds are moving, but for an indie game, that's pretty dang good. Well, and one small note, the game is slightly stretched to make it fit the screen, but not too much of a difference that you'd already notice. Welcome to our world. Gensokyo accepts all. This is rather a cruel statement. And everything looks more or less the same. So I'm going to save here. And I'll explain why in a little bit. But saving here is going to be very important for my purposes. Ooh, what is that? Oh. Those who are in the know, you know that's Aya. Hey, why are you just standing there? There's a puppet right in front of you, and you're just gonna stand there and doing nothing? Good old Marissa. A beautiful illustration of her. Wait a sec, you know about the puppets, right? You're from the outside world, aren't you? Okay, listen up. This thing here, right in front of you, is a puppet. These things just suddenly appeared and spread all over the place. These things will ambush you in tall grass, so you'd better have your own puppets ready. Oh, right. I forgot that you're from the outside world. Oh, you're not going to gain any experience just standing here talking about them. It's time for the real deal. Here, take my puppet and let's see what you can do. Wild Eye has appeared. Oh, Marissa. And it's actually a puppet, not the one we're talking to. That's a person. So we can choose yin energy or yang energy. Let me see if I can show you here really quickly. Oh, yin and yang. Yin uses focus, category spread for yang energy. What are those? Because effectively, focus attack is physical attack, like it would be in Pokemon, where special attack is, well, that's pretty straightforward. Your spread attack is special. In this case, you got your physical and your magical, and you have defense for each. You got speed, PP we'll get to in a little while. You see a little letter A next to each of those. So if you're all familiar with, the internal values, that is actually what that represents from Pokemon. How, on the base, how strong those stats grow over time. So Marissa is pretty strong here. Got A's, S being the highest. Actually, hold on, let me show you one more thing here. So, strongest thing to do, she has equivalent each, so it doesn't really matter. It depends on what their defense is on their side. But we're just going to test it. Yin energy. Did a good chunk. So this fight, I think, can't be lost, but if you have a really, really strong eye you're fighting, could be. Feel that. Oh no, their defense rose. So we'll just use something that doesn't target defense. And that's about it. It seems tougher than most. I guess you can't beat it, huh? That's weird. What is she going for? You sealed a wild Aya. Would you like to give Aya a nickname? You know what? No. Whoa, did you just tame her? That's weird. Usually you gotta use a seal thread to do that. AKA a Pokeball. Type similar, a little bit different. We'll get to that later on. They don't just decide to follow you. Is this puppet special? Or are you an exception? I have no idea what to make of this. Well, there's no use just standing here and thinking about it. Let's make our way to Hakure Shrine and see if the people there can help you. Also, of course, they brought the Pokemon thing where puppets or Pokemon walk behind you. So it's really cute there. Hey, what are you looking at over there? Come on. Note that everything looks a lot different in Gensokyo. Or less run down. For the most part. I see. Why is Senai here? Or Sene? I always get her name messed up. Apologies in advance. Why is she here? Well, we'll see in a second. So that's why you brought Fuya here. If that's about it, then let me do the talking. Well, if I ain't good at explaining stuff, I'd be very grateful if you'd help me with it. And make my life easier. Ahem. My name is Sene Kochiya. This place is completely separated from where you lived by a great barrier. It is called Gensokyo. That sounds familiar. What? You knew that already? We can get straight to the point then. Currently, Gensokyo is being flooded by puppets. We haven't figured out what has caused this yet. It started during the spring, if I remember correctly. They suddenly appeared out of nowhere, and nobody understands why they did either. Their population grows so fast that I alone cannot suppress them anymore. I've been enhancing the barrier to prevent this incident from leaking into the outside world. But the fact Fuya got lost here means that the barrier is far from perfect, and Fuya can't possibly return if the barrier stays at this power level. So we're trapped. The manager of this barrier, Reimu, is busy solving the incident, and... Why are you people gathering here? You are right on time. This Fuya guy just came across the barrier from the outside world. Getting more frequent these days. Not to mention Fuya has a talent for taming puppets. ... You don't seem related. But I'm gonna keep my eye on you. You're Fuya, right? Please, don't get involved too much. Just stay low until we clean up this mess. You can't get back to your world at this moment regardless. I'm getting pretty damn tired. Now get the hell out of here. The translation does add a few things in like that. But it's not too different than Japanese. It says, get out of here, get out of here. So we got kicked out. Fuya, the lady you met earlier was the manager of the barrier, Reimu, who for once is actually doing her job. From what she said, it's very unlikely that she'll lower the barrier for you. Don't you worry. For me, it'll be a piece of cake. You guys just enjoy the sunshine here, and I'll get it done before you even put on your sunglasses. What, you want to come with me? This isn't me being cocky, but what can you do, really? Well, you do have some potential. Let's test this out. Is your little friend still following you? There she is. It's time for a puppet duel. Since you're such an amateur, I'll lend you a few minutes just to get yourself together. Talk to me when you're ready. There's no escape, you hear that? Every conflict in Gensokyo is solved through duels. This is our rule. Usually we duel with Danmaku, but puppet duels have now become the mainstream method as a result of this incident. Speaking which, I have no idea why I got stuck with the backup role. So, before we do anything else, let's look at our Aya, because this is where that save is going to come in handy. How'd I am Dream Shadow? Touch on that in a second. Well, it was meant to be. I got the perfect start. So notice the blue there. The blue under focus attack, which I can't really highlight here, but under focus attack you see 13, and then of course 11, 9, 9, 14, but the focus attack is blue because that is what's called a mark. She has a focus attack mark. Every puppet starts off with one particular mark that gets assigned to one of the stats. In this case, focus attack. So that's going to be enhanced growth throughout, so it's going to be starting off a little bit stronger and continually getting stronger than if she didn't have the mark. Also notice that she is full S rank. Your starting puppet is effectively the best it can possibly be. There is no, having to re-roll for a substandard puppet for that. The only thing would be if you wanted to get the right mark, which I have some plans for this playthrough to do some pretty tough stuff later on, so I wanted to guarantee, but hey, good news, we got it. Ability free will doesn't really matter. Immune to skill usage restrictions. We'll touch on that in a little bit. Her abilities, I'm going to actually swap those around so it's easier. Because I don't ever go on to use shield up, there's no reason to. Raises the user's full defense. You know, Pokemon you attack. You attack until later on. Then you do some cool stuff. So, Yang energy. So type is Dream. Every puppet has a type. In this case, Aya is Wind. So I'm actually going to give myself a second here. I'm going to pop up, hopefully, if Fuya remembers to, the puppet type chart. So you can kind of take a look at what types there are. So, as you can see, there are a number of them here. You get Void, Fire, Water, Nature, Earth, Steel, Wind, Electric, Light, Dark, Nether, Poison, Fighting, Illusion, Sound, Warped, and Dream. So Dream, for the most part, you're never going to see. It's more of a, Yang or Yin energy type attack, and a few other random ones, but very, very rare you'll see Dream, either whether as a puppet type or as an attack type. It's kind of like the nothing touches it, it doesn't really touch anything in terms of weaknesses or strengths. And of course you see certain types also have special benefits like fire, you're immune to burn and heavy burn, which is just like, Pokemon. So, that being what it is, let us kind of come right back into things in here. Give me 1 second. Oop, okay, so, now that we kind of reviewed what the type chart is, and I'll try and remember to put a link in the description as well so you can kind of reference it if you want. But in this case, Wind, so Wind is pretty bad against wind and light, but strong against poison, fighting, and sound. It's actually a very strong type. Now, you'll notice it says normal right next to level 5 there. And we're going to be almost done with the explanation, but I just want to kind of go over things right now before we get too deep in. But normal means that every puppet starts off as normal, like normal Aya, normal Reimu, normal Marissa, etc. Evolving is a little bit different in this game. It starts at level 30. When we get there, we'll explain it. But just be aware that there's a lot of differences in how evolution works in this game, which I think that's actually really cool. Also, you can talk to your puppet. Sometimes they don't like you very much at the start. They give you kind of a meh face, and then they get to being a heart later on. So, let me just say, she said you can't run away. Hey, you want to hang out with me, right? There'll be nothing for you if you try to escape. You can't run away. I'm not going to talk to Marissa yet. We're going to slow the EMF. We're going to go in. We're going to rob Reimu blind if we can. Nothing right here, but... Fujiwara Senbei, hey. There's already a puppet here. That'll be useful for something in a little bit. Don't worry about it yet. So I got the handheld game console. I'm not going to be useful in Gensokyo, so I'll sell it and buy a new one later. So I got a healing item. I can go over here, but you're probably going to be mad if I break in. Yeah, don't mess with Reimu. She gets pretty upset. So, there is literally no way that this fight should go south. But I always save anyway. Oh, and by the way, it's still empty inside. But y'all might have been wondering what the Dream Shard does. That'll be the last thing. Taking your shard. We can look at it. Okay, we're gonna go over to Hold 2. Consider a gem that constantly changes color. A special puppet holding this will have increased stats. So basically, only your starting puppet can ever get this. It can never be knocked off, stolen, etc. That's about it. Alright, let's get this show on the road. Enough yabbering. Marissa, are you ready? Yes. Alright, let's see what the best you can do. Ordinary Magician Marissa would like to battle. Marissa sent out. Marissa, go figure. You can kind of see under the bars in the upper right and upper left, you can see a little diamond almost symbol. That represents how many puppets you have. Go figure. Eventually we'll have 6. So, obviously we're not fleeing, puppets back, etc. We're just going to beat down on her. Big energy. Ooh. That's a lot of damage. Didn't lose though, but he's also targeting my weaker defense stat. Ooh. This is getting a little sketch. I think we got this. Good, okay. I was actually going to say, I never actually lost that fight, so... Got item mushroom powder, which, to save us time from looking at it, is basically a selling item. So in this game, you don't get money from winning, you get items that you basically can sell. Which kind of makes more sense. You know, you don't usually get lots of money from beating your random wild monsters or whatever. Wow, you did amazingly well for your first attempt. You may come in handy sometime. Alright, I should get going. Then I should be taking care of the rest for now. I have to get ahead of Reimu, you know. There she goes. Quite curious about your talent for taming puppets. I bet there's something special about you. It's unimaginable how a normie would be able to cross the strengthened barrier. I really love how they put that because that is how she would probably actually talk, you know. She has a little bit of outside world experience with, you know, normie, etc. So. Oh, by the way, some people in the human village are investigating puppets. Maybe you could start finding clues there. Unfortunately, I have to say here is a backup for when Reimu's out. You're on your own for now. You should be fine with your puppet. I'm sure she'll be your best ally. You might also learn more about our world in the human village. How about paying it a visit first? I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Before the incident, I was the shrine maiden of the Moria Shrine on Yokai Mountain, aka Reimu's rival. Oh, I forgot to mention, never ever trigger Reimu's temper. Last time when she got mad... Never mind. I almost forgot to tell you. After you leave the shrine, head west. You should see the village very soon. I'll ask Reimu about later. Where's the human village? Just to the west of the shrine. So she's basically house sitting right now while Reimu's out and about. Because Danae is a really good person. We're close to fully recovered. Still can't figure out what that's for. We'll go over that in just a second. Now let's explore here. Water's crystal clear. Nice little Easter egg for those of you who are familiar with Water's Calm. The old school Windows Touhou game. Very nice little Easter egg with the turtle there. Good old Genbu. Moria Shrine branch. They're hustling, putting their own little branch here in Reimu Shrine. Oh, poor Reimu. Wait one moment, please. Just one more thing. Climbing down this mountain will be really tough for just you and your puppet alone. Here's some items that will help you out. Obtain seal thread times 10. That was mentioned earlier. You can use these to seal a wild puppet. It will join you after you defeat it, if it is sealed. Let me read the manual for you. During a wild puppet battle, you may use a seal thread from the battle menu. This will cause the puppet to be sealed. A wild puppet that is sealed will join you after it is defeated. However, you cannot use seal threads on puppets that are owned by others. Sealing is bad, friends. Now you are an expert on sealing. Take this with you too. Obtain Puppet Box. If you already have 6 puppets in your party, any new puppets obtained will be stored in this box. You can open it and swap out puppets in the box with those in your party. You can access the box by interacting with the Aku puppets that you'll find on your adventure. That's all I've got for you. Good luck on your trip. I don't think she has anything new to say. So let me show off over here. Obtain Blinding Orb. I don't think there's anything, if memory serves, in here that was worth grabbing. Nope. Okay, cool. And let me show off over here really quick. Let's go to Human Village first. Oh, they aren't going to let me show you off the sleeping character over there yet? Fair enough. Blinding Orb. Always be able to escape from a wild battle. Cool enough. So before I go any farther, let me go back and show you that little odd puppet that was standing next to the bed. This is an Aki puppet. There's a puppet box. Would you like to open it? So, why do I have puppets here? So, do you remember when I said New Game Plus? I'm not going to use any of these, but in fact, I'm probably going to move these all to... That way all the puppets I do end up catching won't get confused. So, these first 5 are ones I had in my inventory when I started the New Game Plus. This is actually from when I was going to be doing a playthrough based around Yumemi. And this was the puppet. Remember they talked about Gengetsu? Wasn't that your chosen puppet? Well, yeah, but also... No. Also in cool outfits. Sometimes you can get them in special outfits like the wedding dress for your chosen puppet or different styles. But New Game Plus you can carry over up to 6 effectively, plus the starting puppet you catch. Puppets for that have whatever stats you give them for rank-wise. Of course, I gave them all S ranks. We'll explain how I did that when it matters on the line. But effectively, that's not going to matter for this playthrough. We're doing it fresh. But the New Game Plus is super, 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 super well done. Trust me, if you ever want to do a New Game Plus on Pokemon, it's fantastic. Because you can in fact start off with whatever party you want. You don't actually have to catch anything after that point, and you already have your good stats, which makes the early game pretty easy, but later on it actually kind of balances out, because it gets a little bit difficult later on. The Hakurei Shinshu restores a fainted puppet to full HP. Very rare. Okay. So, jabbering aside, let's zoom on through to Route 1. What's this? Hakurei Shrine or Human Village? So, let's quick save, and then we're going to go after a few puppets, see if we can't build up a nice little team here. Starting off with Wild Chen. Okay. Should be, I think, 2-hit KO? Maybe 3. Okay, it'll be 3. Oh, that's actually not impactful at all. Actually, that is because Yang Energy. Remember I said about attacks having a type? So Aya gets kind of stymied earlier on because Yang Energy goes off of spread. So that's why she was actually struggling against Marissa, because I was using her lower stat. You will eventually get attack damage, and you'll see why also I wanted to have the attack mark later on. And you're being incredibly weak right now. Okay, so close enough. It'll take 2 more hits to KO. We're going to use a Seal Thread. Gotcha. Sealed Sin. Sealed Chen. Oh dear lord, stop it. I'd almost rather get hit just so I don't have to deal with the longer battle. Okay, it's going to be 2 more turns. That's not the only ability you have, I know that. You're just having a fun time with your day in the limelight. Could've got her. Since she was shield, now I have a new character. Got a magical fragment as well. Yeah, I don't need nicknames. I'm not gonna try and give people their puppets nicknames. I like the base character names anyway. So, as you can see, significant stat differences. It's not so hot, but it is what it is. He's not going to be a long-term member of the playthrough either way, so it doesn't really matter. I got some puppets I'm planning to grab. I may end up keeping 1 or 2 of these for later on, but right now I just want to get some support here. Also, you noticed that the screen showed all my puppets experience. I'll go over that in just a second, but let's finish weakening and then catching Nazarene. Okay, easy enough. Oop, don't want to do puppets, want to do bag, seal thread, whatever. You can't fail to seal, from what I remember. But, obviously, you only have a certain number of turns until the seal does wear off, so there are some reasons to be smart when you do your seal thread. Nazarene has joined the party. Notice that Chen got 12 experience. I got 25, and also notice that PP plus 3. Going on the game. So, this game does have a built-in EXP share. However, it is actually meant to be used and abused, because if you use it properly, you'll stay at or not, or a little bit over level of everybody else. If you don't, you're going to end up having a hard time. Which, is a pretty good feature. Well, Chen, we'll just be about to get a level. Now you're not going to use barrier, you're just going to start laughing at me when I don't want you to, of course. Oh no. So while we're doing this, so let me kind of touch on the game a little bit more. So, it is made by a small indie company in Japan called Focus Lens. Originally, the Touhou Puppet Dance Performance was, just the base game. And it was, pretty well made. A lot of the areas that were slightly redesigned in the expansion Shard of Dreams, but it was known for being a little bit more difficult, a little bit rough on the grass placements. You'd have to walk across a lot of enemy grass placements to get to places. Nowadays, there are some in the expansion, but they kind of redid things. But Overall, also like an 8 out of 10 game. Hey, got Wild Lily. Good. So, the expansion Shattered Dreams came out and redid a lot of the areas, changed some different placements, added a lot of new puppets, especially like the Touhou, I think 15 puppets. Might have been Touhou 14 puppets added too, I don't remember that as well. But it was a really, really big deal. I might want to do a shield thread. I got a couple turns, so it doesn't really hurt to do it earlier than what you think. Also, love the animation here. Just each ability has different animations. Obviously, right now it's very simple, but very well animated sprite. Regardless, so Shattered Dreams added a lot of different things. Added a whole new storyline that kind of interweaves with the main base game storyline. Also did some rewriting on that. But really, really well done with how they did it. Made the game, in my opinion, like a 10 or even 11 out of 10. You know, obviously I'm a little biased, but Lily's joined the party. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go back and heal. We'll do a really quick more. I just want to see if I can get. Actually, no. We'll keep going. 4 is good enough to start. I'm not trying to catch them all, so I got a good starting party. Curiosity. Hey, she's back. From her tone, I'm pretty sure she won't open the breach for you just yet. Where's Raymond now, you say? She went somewhere after the briefing. The human village, just to the west of the shrine. Okay, good things. So, EXP share gives full experience to any puppets that take part in the battle, whether they just swap in or whether they take a hit. If they're KO'd, they get, you know, the normal amount. So it's important in some battles to do some swapping in if you want to get good experience, and that'll be a technique that we kind of use later on, especially in battles where you're fighting, you know, multiple puppets during the course of it. Now, there's never more than like a one-on-one battle. Just making sure I'm not missing any items. I'm not using. I made the guide. I don't have things memorized. I'm using the guide. Make offering to the Jizo? Yes, actually. Lose an item, but later on this will come in handy. So just remember that will be any of these we see we're going to offer a healing item to. Once 2 puppeteers' eyes meet, that means we have to battle. Right. Now it's Puppeteer Yuichi would like to battle. Right, so I should be able to just absolutely crunch him. Now anyone who's played a Pokemon game knows about Pokemon AI. You got a Wild Puppet, or Wild Pokemon AI, which kind of just does whatever move they want. Puppeteers, or, you know, Pokemon trainers, they have slightly better. Gym leaders, slightly better. And then, of course, you know, it gets better as the game goes on. Similar thing here, so, and watch is another item you can sell for monies. Watch out, there are more people wanting to battle up ahead. So, just kind of remember that. Shoot. I did it again. There we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. The Steam controller is not working like I thought it was going to. Another chin battle. But AI-wise, just remember that, you know, it does make a big difference, but earlier on, you know, the battles won't be super tough. Later on, though, when they actually start getting good abilities and they learn how to use those abilities, that's when you gotta watch yourself, because they can hurt. Now, since the other puppets aren't really going to be a full-time member of the group, I'm not as worried about buffing them up yet. This is not going to be an Aya-only playthrough. You wouldn't be able to make it through. However, Aya did get a new skill. Now, never mind. This would be a good example, I guess. Sometimes it's a quick battles, you know, it's all random. So. Notice I don't actually have a new skill. You might ask, well, what's going on, Fuya? Once I get out of this battle, I won't run anymore, and I'll show you. I think it's a pretty interesting system. So, I will go into my menu, go to my puppet. You might have noticed an edit option going in here. So, anyone who's familiar with Pokemon would know about external points. In this case, you can use them to, you know, if you battle an enemy that's strong in a particular stat, like a Zubat in speed, After beating a certain number of them, usually like 4 or so, but it depends on how many points you get per, you get a speed point, or you get an attack point, whatever. And so, just going through the playthrough of a normal Pokemon game, you basically get kind of a hodgepodge mismatch of stat boosts. You can't really choose. So there's a lot of players who are more competitive. They will, make a breed with Pokemon and actually completely build it from the ground up, fighting only what's going to give the best points. So in this game, they do it a little bit differently. It doesn't matter what you fight. You get point or PP points no matter what you fight, and then you can use those to increase your stats. Now, would you want to do that right now? Probably not. Keep in mind that even if you say I'm giving attack, look at that, the actual 16 out of 16 doesn't change for a while because you're still right early on. You gotta give a lot of points. As you work towards 100, the amount of out of 64 actually becomes closer to actually giving 64 points. And you can kind of, go from there. Also, acquire skills. So, oh, I see what's happening. I'm left mouse clicking off with the back button. I'll fix that in this team later on. So, Feather Shot. Feather Shot is a normal attack. You can use 3 PP to learn it. Of course we're going to do so, why wouldn't I? Later on, when you get, 10 to 15 skills on a single puppet, it is not worth learning all of them, and you can pick and choose when you want to get them. And even if you forget a skill, you can relearn it here with PP. Same thing with the TM style things that we'll find later on. Exact same, you'll just use a few points. Very easy. So this is going to be our first real good attack skill. We're going to love it. It's going to be fantastic. Skill cards are, TMs or HMs. There's no HMs really in this game, though there are movement abilities you can learn. And you can use 20 points to change the ability. In this case, you're starting off with free will, immune to skill usage restrictions. And then the other one would be Gale, which, when you're afflicted with an ailment, speed's boosted. Speed dropped and paralysis ignored. Not really useful in this case, but later on might be more useful than free will. PP you get so much of that it doesn't really matter, so right now I'm not too worried about it. I am going to use some stats actually too. I use 20 right now, just to get a little bit more towards that attack. So I want to boost my attack, I'm going to want to boost my speed, and you get a few points left over to put into whatever, which doesn't matter. But, I'm going to swap Aya out for... How's my other characters? Let me see how their stats are. Ooh, she's got an A in... it's not bad getting A in special attack. A in actual attack. No damage. If no item is held and you receive damage, you may take the foe's held item. Held items cannot be stolen. So you can't steal from actual battles, but nice. I use Nazarene for a little bit. She's got some good stats, so I'll throw Aya into the back. This is my tradition. I put the weak or strongest towards the back. But as you can see, it's, with the PP system, it kind of gives a lot of player freedom in how they want to build their puppets. Now, you might look at Nazarene right now and say, hey, why don't you just dump everything in actual, physical attack and make her strong? That could very well in the long term be good. Evolutions can change things dramatically. Just because a puppet starts off strong in one stat doesn't mean after an evolution that they will be. So that's where things get to be pretty interesting. But we'll touch on that when we get closer. Useful tips. You can use seal threads from in-battle item menu. You can use it to seal wild puppets, and if you defeat it, you can catch up. Watch out, it does not work against already owned puppets. Such as... Did you just become a puppeteer? Let's have a friendly match against each other, fellow newbie. Now as Puppeteer Sachi would like to battle. Also, I love the character designs in this game. Especially for just a generic NPCs. There's some really, really good ones. So this is one of the ones I really like. We'll touch on one later that's also really good. Skin Energy. I should be able to win this fight without too much issue. We'll see how much damage that does. Yeah, I got it. I don't remember if there's a way to show off. No, okay, so you can't really see the what the skill does. Oops, if I don't click off with the back thing. I'll fix that later. Skin Energy. And this should basically just be a straight up firefight. Now, critical hits are a thing in this game, so if I got crit, it would be probably not a KO, but would be bad. I'm going to swap to Aya because I want to keep giving her some buffs, because she's going to be carrying me. Even though she's not really strong in early game, she's going to help carry me through. That's another thing to touch on. Some puppets are stronger in different parts of the game. In fact, most puppets have a point in the game where they're very strong at. Aya is actually not strong in the early game. She's okay, but not strong. Later on, she gets to be an absolute monster, especially if you use her power upgrade. We'll touch on that in a little while. There's a resting place ahead. Let your puppet rest well. She's, not too impressed. Oh, mysterious rock. Appears to be breakable, but we have no way to do so. Intent or upgrades later on. Avoiding bushes because puppets suddenly jump out. Okay. Before we do anything else, let's bail out moving in. I'm waiting for my puppets to heal up. Remember, puppets are not tools. Let them rest if they look tired. I'm a traveling merchant. Do you want to buy some of my wares? Sure. You can bead necklace, will repel puppets for up to 100 steps. Or buy some seal threads. I have no money. So I could sell. I'm not going to sell the game console. I'd always just keep it just for fun. Mushroom powder is very good money. Watch, etc. are not. Magical fragments do have a use late in the game. So you can hold 255 in items, so it's a good idea not to sell a ton of them. I'm going to buy a few more seal threads. In fact, we'll buy 15. Oh my god, game. Okay. How about a little rest here? We have confectioners too. So if I wanted to get some sweets for healing or recover status ailments, I could. I'm not going to need them for a while, so I'm not going to. What I will do is rest. So I just like to point out that rest houses, I love the music. I've always loved the post-game music after you beat a Touhou game where, so good. Dude, one after another, puppeteers kept challenging me to a battle. I'm exhausted. And of course, you can change puppets out. So, I haven't talked to you yet. You're actually not going to fight me. Oh, your puppets look tired. Damn, how better not. I just healed. There's still a bit more until you reach the human village. You should take a break at this resting area. Visit resting places if you're tired. Feel free to stop by. So one quick note. Puppet just jumped out. You might think, hey, barrels have things in them, and sometimes they do, or pots have things in them. Sometimes that thing is a puppet. So Seija is going to be a pretty cool addition. Right now she's obviously not strong, but I should be able to straight up beat her with Nazarene. Ooh, contagion. But the skill failed. Good thing, I didn't want to be poisoned. So let's heal and grab Seija. And that is the end. And here's a healing item. So, the game rewards you for searching things, but also, whether or not punishment is a thing, it can sometimes surprise you. Now, keep in mind that, these are puppets that you normally wouldn't be able to find in these areas. Like, Seija is a later game puppet that doesn't, keep in mind, later game, earlier game, doesn't necessarily mean that they're strong or weak right now. It just means that you find them later on. Now, when they're strong or weak in the end game is a different story, or mid-game or early game. So, she's got interesting marks. A special attack is marked and also has an E. Reverse the stat changes, so if anything goes lower, then it would actually go higher. So if they try to, like, sand attack style, lower your evasion or attack, accuracy in this case, it would actually increase. So that's pretty cool. And poison the foe. I don't know how that missed. Oh, I know how it missed. Duh. So Nazarene is steel and earth. So, of course, he was immune to poison. That's why contagion missed. Fun stuff. Alright, so with that, I think, as I go in there and... I should already healed. But I think at this point, it's probably been 45 minutes. We got just a little ways to go until we get to the human village, so we're going to save that for next time. For now, I hope you folks had a really fun time with the video. Sorry for the technical difficulties with the Steam controller. I'm going to have to reconfigure the buttons to not do a left click when you accidentally nudge the back little trigger thing, which is pretty cool, but bad if you're obviously trying to play a game like this. So for now, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you had as much fun as I did. This is, again, one of my favorite games of all time, and we're still really, really early on into it, so you'll see the game continue to blossom and get more and more interesting, especially once you get into the plot, especially once you start getting into, side quests, side areas, and further puppets. For now, thank you so much for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you again in the next adventure.